morning. It's another Wesley Wednesday with Pastor Dave. Over the past few months, we have visited some of the historic Wesley sites in the U.S. and in England. I hope you have enjoyed hearing about these places and have learned a few things about our Methodist heritage. My first trip to England in 2003 was with the Voices of Youth for the 300th anniversary of John Wesley's birth. I returned in 2007 with a group from the Lynchburg district for the 300th anniversary of Charles Wesley's birth. And then in 2008, we went on a family trip to London with our close friends David and Phyllis Atkins, and of course I had to take them to a few Wesley places. My last visit was in 2013 for the 275th anniversary of Wesley's Aldersgate experience. This trip was hosted by the Foundation for Evangelism and included participants from around the world. Linda, my wife, commented after our first trip that she was surprised just how famous John Wesley was and still is today. The Wesley Heritage Sites in England are a big draw to tourists from around the world. Today I want to give you a summary of our historic sites that we visited in England. We began with a stop in Epworth. It was here that John and Charles were born, baptized, and raised in a Christian home. Our next stop was Oxford. John and Charles led a small group called the Holy Club. Their purpose was to grow in their walk of faith through the practice of spiritual disciplines, and this is where the name Methodist was given to them. Aldersgate Street in London was the place of John's spiritual awakening in 1738. He and Charles developed a plan to organize new converts to the faith into societies in order to help disciple them. His hope was to bring spiritual reform within the Church of England. Bristol became the headquarters of the Methodist movement. A Methodist meeting house was built. It was called the New Room and was the subject of one of my devotions. It was here that the preachers were trained and then appointed to preaching circuits. It was here that John started preaching in the streets and fields to crowds numbering in the hundreds, and some say even thousands. We visited Charles Wesley's home also in Bristol and noted the important role he played in working with the societies, and John was an excellent preacher as well as a hymnist. From Bristol, we traveled to London to visit City Road Chapel and to focus on the latter years of John and Charles's life and ministry. The fact that the Methodist movement was so well established prior to John Wesley's death helped to preserve both the chapel and his home. Wesley Chapel, as it is called now, is in many ways a shrine to Methodism. Our final stop was Westminster Abbey, which in many ways confirms the Wesley brothers' place in history. And Methodist Central Hall is a modern landmark to the importance Methodism had in British history. I hope you have enjoyed learning about some of these historic places in England and in Georgia. If you have been with me on these travels, you would have visited a half dozen museums and had your picture taken beside at least 10 statues of John or Charles and an untold number of memorials. Most of these sites have a website and offer a virtual tour. I encourage you to check them out. And again, thanks for listening, and I'll be back next Wednesday. Have a blessed day.